You're watching PNN, the Parody News Network.
Hello and welcome to PNN. I'm Wyatt Starline. We have breaking news at the top of this hour. Terror aboard the luxury ocean liner RMS Titanic. Details are coming in as we speak. Let's go right away to our senior correspondent, Jane Cameron. Jane, what's the latest?
Terror indeed, Wyatt, as we're learning horrifying new details of what's happened aboard the Titanic. Cal Hockley, American industrialist and heir to a Pittsburgh steel fortune, losing his temper at breakfast this morning, overturning a table and shouting at his fiancée, Rose DeWitt-Bukater, that she was his, quote, wife in practice, if not yet by law, and demanding that she honor him, quote, the way a wife is required to honor a husband. The incident left Bukater highly distressed, and, of course, the china that they were eating off of, which had never been used, is now smashed into shards.
Wow, such a loss. Jane, any indication what set off this disturbing event?
Well, my sources tell me that Bukater was seen at a raucous party below decks the night before, and in the company of Jack Dawson of the Chippewa Falls Dawsons, which may have sparked anger and jealousy in Hockley. Either way, it appears that Bukater was simply having a bit of fun, attempting to escape an endless parade of parties and cotillions, yachts and polo matches, always the same narrow people, the same mindless chatter, and Hockley had an unacceptable overreaction. Wyatt?
Okay, thanks very much, Jane. We're getting reports of further tragedy aboard the Titanic. For details, we go to senior correspondent Alonzo Carpathia. Alonzo, what's going on?
Wyatt, it's difficult to put into words the kind of heartbreak we're hearing about at this hour regarding Titanic. According to sources, third-class passenger Jack Dawson of the Chippewa Falls Dawsons has been invited to dine in the first-class dining room this evening and does not have a tuxedo. What his plan is at this point is anyone's guess. But, hang on, Wyatt. I'm getting an update. It appears that one of the other passengers, Molly Brown, has on board a tuxedo for her son, and as luck would have it, he's the exact same size as Jack. She has reportedly shined him up like a new penny and has agreed to talk him through the complicated social niceties that must be observed for Jack to make a good impression. So, it would seem, disaster averted aboard Titanic, thanks to Molly Brown.
And Alonzo, would that be the unsinkable Molly Brown?
Not that I'm aware of, Wyatt. I don't believe at this time that Brown has any nicknames to speak of.
Okay, well, keep an eye on that for us, Alonzo. We're now getting word that tragedy, disaster, and misery continue to follow this seemingly ill-fated ship. Our correspondent Laura Mauritania has more. Laura.
That's right, Wyatt. As if the breakfast incident and the Tuxedo near disaster weren't enough. We just got news that a 1912 Renault Type CB Coupe de Ville brought on board in England has been defiled by two teenagers allegedly having intercourse in the back seat. We did find out that the owner of the car in question is William from Bryn Mawr, Pennsylvania. And while we have not been able to get him for questioning, one can only assume that no amount of cleaning is going to make him want to use this particular luxury vehicle as his family's means of transportation. Just tragic here today. Wyatt?
All right, thank you, Laura. We need to take a break right now, but before we do, we're just going to go quickly to our correspondent Tina Olympic with one last update on Titanic. Tina.
Wyatt, there's certainly nothing that could possibly compare to the incidents of devastation aboard the Titanic that my colleagues have reported on throughout our broadcast. But I am receiving some news that the Titanic has grazed an iceberg in the middle of the Atlantic. Now I'm told that the luxury liner has not hit the iceberg, merely scraped against it. And though they've stopped to assess the damage, they should be underway momentarily.
I see. And Tina, it sounds like nothing more than a new paint job the Titanic will need when it arrives in New York. But from what you're hearing, is there any fear at all at this hour that Titanic could sink?
Wyatt, from what I've heard, no. No fear at all. In fact, I have heard everything from this ship is unsinkable to God himself could not sink this ship. In fact, there's so little fear of sinking that there are only a few lifeboats. And a passenger was overheard saying that the lifeboats they do have are, quote, a waste of deck space, as they are on an unsinkable ship. So no, Wyatt, there's no fear at all of sinking at this time.
Thank goodness for that. The Titanic finally catching a break. Okay, thank you, Tina. If there are any further developments on this story, PNN will have them for you first. But for now, it sounds like there's nothing more to report. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You've been watching PNN, the Parody News Network.